Okay, good evening, everyone. We have been preparing this for a while, and because even though we have done Bigu workshop for I think it's almost 10 years. We started in 2015, and we got a lot of students coming in and attending the workshops. So this is very great. So I found out it is not a difficulty to teaching people to doing bigu into a state not to feel hungry without eating, or start the fatty acid burning metabolism. It's not very difficult. It's relatively easy to teaching them if they come, but it's very difficult to explain to them what is bigu fasting. What this is different from the regular fasting. What this can do to me. That is more challenging to me. So this workshop is specifically targeted to answer a lot of questions raised by people. Of course, I will give you enough time to ask questions at the end. So it is an opportunity for me to have interaction with people, so we can actually getting to know more about the Bigu, and we can have more people involved in this very powerful therapeutic fasting, practice. So that's the purpose of our talking today. So the subject or the title of my talk is about review the mystery of Bigu fasting, because there are a lot of myths about what it is or what it is not. And I want to, use my PowerPoint or my talk to communicate with people on what is Bigu, what has been recorded in Chinese history on the Bigu, on the earliest record. So we'll know this is not just something, recently more and more people doing fasting. They didn't realize Bigu fasting has more than 2,000 years history in China, has been recorded in the histories. And I always get people to ask me, why is Daoism Bigu always 7 days or 14 days? Use 7 days as a cycle. I want to answer that questions. And what a Bigu can bring to you, and what the science knows about the Bigu fastings, and where the energy come from during the Bigu fasting. That's one of the most common questions, especially people who are science-minded. And it's Bigu for everyone. I want to people really bring your questions so we can actually coming together to answer that questions. And for people who are first time attending our online workshop, I want to briefly tell you who I am. Probably you hear about me, or you never hear about somebody named Kevin Chen, the guy from China. Well, right now I'm a retired faculty from University of Maryland School of Medicine. I work in different medical school for 30 years. I started working in Columbia Medical School in 1991. That's my first job. And I was there, and then I go to UMDNJ, that's New Jersey Medical School, and Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. And the University of Maryland School of Medicine is my number four medical school I worked. So I've been working in medical school all my careers, and mostly in psychiatry department, and later in integrated medicines. I am the Deputy Secretary General of World Academic Society of Medical Qigong, one of the only government-recognized worldwide organizations. And I'm an NIH-funded principal investigator and involved in many research of Qigong and mind-body medicines and its application in addiction, in stress management, and in cancer recoveries. I am the associate editor for the college textbook, Chinese Medical Qigong. So I studied Qigong and Bigu with renowned Daoism masters, practiced Bigu since 1999. I usually doing Bigu about 3 to 4 times a year regularly. Each time lasts 7 to 21 days. I am actually a very serious scientist. Probably a lot of people think about somebody doing Bigu or somebody eating Qi is not serious. I am very serious. I published a lot in academic journals. I was actually listed in the world top 2% of scientists in 2020 and 2021 by Stanford University and elsewhere. So I just want you to know I'm kind of a mixed. I'm mixed, Eastern philosophy and practice and Western scientific trainings. And so I want to, present what I know in this area, what we call the Bigu fastings. Okay, Bigu, the Chinese words, literally mean avoid grain, but the actual meaning is more than that. Bigu from cultivate or the Qigong practice perspective, it is a natural state after Qigong practice. You're into a state called no desire for food when Qi is full. 气足不思食. Mostly a Daoism tradition, but Buddhism practice as well. And Bigu is a special skill about not hungry when not eating. Okay, the feeling no hunger when not eating. That's the key. So it's not simply not eating. So it is a technique to gain energy from a nature for the body's need. And specifically, it is a higher level of mind-body practice with information regulation and self-adjustment technologies. It is a process of system shutting down, restart, clean up, and letting go. So it is not what you think. It's just not eating. Oh, Bigu is not eating. No. So if it's more than that, why do we do Bigu? Eating is one of our main needs for survive, or the main joy, make us feel happy, feel, life is worthwhile. And so it is really necessary to allow eating. And to answer that question, I would say it's not easy because the need for Bigu vary by different group of people. Okay, people have a different need. For those who are overweight, Bigu is probably the most effective and safer and less relapse method in the market. For a patient with chronic disease, Bigu is the most effective way to activate the self-healing potentials to achieve the real sense of recovery without side effects. For those mind-body practitioners and cultivators like me, Bigu is the best way to achieve higher body-mind spiritual integrations and enlightenment or get in flow. It is not hard to teaching a person into a state of loud hungry when not eating or burning the fat. It is the most difficult thing to do is to let people know, understand what Bigu is really about, why human health need Bigu as a therapy. So that's what we're doing here today. The first thing I want to cover is our ability to fast is natural. Everyone was born with the potential to fasting for a period of time. Bigu fasting by itself is a natural ability of man, since the human did not always have food, especially in the year of nomadic hunting. When you feel sick, you usually stop eating. And then after a few days not eating, you recover. So our body really has that intuition to know not eating is a way to heal itself. As a matter of fact, many animals have the built-in ability to hibernate during the winter when the food are real. So that is survival skills. What about the animal who without hibernation capabilities? Can they fast for a long period as well? I want to use animal as a cutting point because they do not have idea of nutrition, metabolism, or education about not eating, you're going to die. They don't have that education. Let's see two stories, okay? First story is about a pig. There's a pig very famous in China called the pig tough, 猪坚强. This pig who survived the 2008 Wenquan earthquake in Sichuan for 36 days, okay? So the earthquake happened on May 12th, year 2008. That's the year, I think, Olympic in Beijing. And this pig was saved on June 17th, 36 days later. So that's the picture on the right side. On the top is one who was survived. It's about 100 pounds. It was about 300 pounds before the earthquake. And then during that 36 days, he had water only because he was, stuck in that area, cannot move at all. But there's a Greek just passed by that area. He got water, but without food. So a museum bought this pig after he was saved by by peoples. So they put in put 4 people to feeding him with all the nutritious stuff. And so after he eating 7 times a day, it grows very quickly into almost 400 pounds again. You see the picture here. He was actually winning awards, and that's another picture was in the China news networks. So that's become almost 400 pounds. So it becomes so fat, he can hardly stand anymore because he got a neck problem. He can hardly stand anymore. So they stopped the 7 times a daily feedings, and they started reduce the nutrition or even did a little bit of fasting. And in September 2018, okay, 10 years later, he was famous again because he was able to recover by not eating, resume walking again around the areas. Okay, so those that's twice happened in the same pigs. It passed away on June 16, 2021, at 40 years old. So that's about a little bit longer than the average pig lives. Average pig live about 10 years to 15 years old. So it's really made it very famous in China for an animal who was without eating for 36 days, not only survive but also growing big and healthy. This is a story about a chicken. There's a special chicken called the Lai Hang chickens. It was originally from Italy but exported to the around the world. This chicken is very common feeding of egg-laying chicken in China. It's imported, I don't know from which country, in 1920 and 1930s. It produced about 200 to 300 eggs a year. That's almost every day, okay? So, however, one of the shortcoming of this chicken is only laying egg for 18 months, and then it stopped reproductions. And of course, they die after they stop laying eggs. And usually, before they die, the host, the master, killed the chicken, and then so they can eat the meat. They found out the chicken was full of fat. It's what we call the body trash. So those actually happen in many people who many other animals as well. When they're getting too much fat, they will affect their reproductive functions. And so the Taiwan farmers try to stop feeding for 20 days. Those after the 18 months, the chicken stop laying eggs. They're going to put them in fasting for 20 days, forced fastings. So the chicken would start losing all the feathers and replace with new feathers. And then after that, they will resume feeding them, and those chickens start laying eggs again. Those chickens who was fasting for 20 days will live much longer lifespan than the chicken who was without those fasting spells. So this has really good implication for reproductive health issues. We actually have people or ladies who cannot, get pregnant for babies. After fasting, they actually gain that function back. It is so. The question is, if a pig or a chicken can do this, resume their health after, resume their use and return their health after fastings, can you do it? Can we do it? And my answer to that question is, if you don't know about nutrition, if you don't get an education about the metabolism, if you don't have all those knowledge about if you're not eating, you're going to have this disease and that disease, you can do it. It is a knowledge. It is our common sense limited our attempt to try this powerful in therapy or powerful practice. So why I'm using Bigu instead of fasting? Because Bigu is not fasting. Just like I said earlier, Bigu is a practice or skill for not feel hungry without eating. So I am, differentiate Bigu and fasting in 4 different aspects. First, they defining energy differently. Our regular fasting is based on the belief or the theory that food and fat are the main energy or nutrient for living or surviving. But the Bigu practitioners believe in much broader sense of what energy is. Energy should include light, qi, that's vital energy, or prana, saliva, body vibration. All those things will produce energies. Okay, the different in terms of methods. Okay, most fasting will believe simply not eating. Okay, the method is not eating. Just stop eating. Who don't know that? You don't need any learn or preparation for that. So fasting usually lasts about 1 day, 3 days. The maximum I will hear about people doing 5 days. Okay, so that's very common. However, in Bigu, they have many different methods, multiple skill and method during Bigu. You need to learn, you need to practice to how to obtain alternative energies and without feel hungry. That's the key. So Bigu usually lasts 7 days, 14 days, or 21 days, 28 days. You know, if you watch the documentary I put on YouTube, or much longer. So that is the difference in terms of method. You always have to do something about game energies. You will see a lot of picture I post in my Bigu workshop is about meditate. So people meditate a lot during Bigu, so they can gain the energy through the saliva, through the skin breathing, and through the connecting with higher dimensions. And the reaction is different. Most of the fasting emphasize perseverance, okay, the willpowers. One will experience some hunger or various painful reaction, but hey, this is good for you, do it, right? So that's the basic reactions. However, in Bigu, the reaction will be completely different. There's no sense of hunger. You might feel lighter, happier, calmer, or more energies, more energetics. You know, I have a student tell me, said, "Oh, I feel more energetics today, and I feel light. I almost like flying." So that's the sense when you're doing the Bigu practice. Of course, they are different in theoretical base. The fasting is based on the concept and understanding of nutrient, matters, cell, metabolism, detoxification, and energy balance, etc. But Bigu is based on our traditional Chinese belief of human nature correspondence. In Chinese, we call it 天人合一. And no desire for food when the qi is full. So it's based on the qi or energy practice. So we can live on qi and on light, water, and self vibrations. So I hope this will give you some very clear why Bigu is different from regular fastings. So Bigu is not something somebody make it up. It had long history of record in the Chinese literatures. The earliest record of what Bigu appear in the record of history, 史记. That's about, I would say about 100 BC, that time. And in that 史记, they have record like 学辟谷, 导引轻身, in English, learn to Bigu, 导引, conducting, or now we call Qigong, to light up the bodies. Okay. Another famous literature is a book from the tomb unearthed in from West Han dynasties in Hunan. And it's called 雀谷石器篇, Avoid Grand when Gabin Qi. This is a specialty book on Gabin Qi Bigu. There, the picture on the right side, is one in there's about 270 words unreadable on a piece of silk. There's about 200 words is unreadable, so it's not a completed book. It's just a book. People can read some of them. So in those words we can read, it actually had some statement like it is wrong to simply not eat. It must be combined with Gabin Qi, which can gradually generate vitality and eventually achieve the goal of prolonging life. You see, that is the wisdom 2,000 years being recorded on a silk. So it's not something somebody made up. So not say Bigu is not simply not eating. It was even mentioned 2,000 years ago. let's give you more earlier description in the literature. The earliest record of not eating can be found in Zhuangzi. Okay, Zhuangzi is one of the earlier Daoism founder, Daoism practitioner. In his Wandering, piece, it's a chapter called Wandering. He described in the mountain where immortal live, their skin like ice or snow, the body like a virgin, not eating grain, drink the wind and dew, riding the cloud and royal flying dragon, and swim beyond four seas. In another book for the Han Dynasty, the meritorious official of Han Gaozu, he praised the general Zhang Liang for supporting his legacy without grain, okay, Daoism to restore health. And so that's a place about Zhang Liang doing Bigu. And Ge Hong is another Daoism master in Jin Dynasty. In his embarrassed Bao Puzi, he actually mentioned about Bei, make people fat, can be loaded with risk, but not as good as polygonatons. It's Guangjing. Polygonaton nutrients and easier to digest, which can be used with Bigu in a bad years. People cannot tell the differences. That is kind of preserved rice. So in Bao Puzi, we mentioned about there's some kind of a herb medicine can replace the regular grain and used in a farmer. So that's the literature. In Siji, the Liu Hou family, the story of Zhang Liang's wellness practice in his later years. They said Zhang is often sick, so he did a Daoying and a Bigu remained for years, okay, not just once, years. The way needing to not eating or avoid grain. Zhang Liang last more than a year, indicated it was very effective. And Zhang Liang is a very famous general in Han Dynasty, but he is also one of the earlier Daoism practitioners, because his fifth generation grandson was actually founder of Daoist religion, Zhang Daoning, okay, or Zhang Tiansi. So he was a fifth generation grandfather of the Daoist religion founders. So he was a Daoism practitioner. So basically, there are three types of Bigu was mentioned in ancient literature. Type 1, like the immortal. Bigu is a son of reached to a certain state in course of his cultivations. Type 2, represented by the famous Daoism figures like Zhang Liang and Guo Qianzi. They must cooperate with Daoying or Qigong in the process of exploring Bigu. Type 3, represented by Ge Hong, achieve the goal of Bigu with the help of some herb or pills. So that makes us to know Bigu has three main types or three main techniques. That is what we call information Bigu, 信息 Bigu. Actually, the first time I hear about Bigu is in 1995. I have a friend who was sell insurance in New York City, and he went to a Qigong workshop and get into he was not doing a lot of practice, get into a Bigu state. Suddenly he feel like I'm not hungry, I'm not eating. He Bigu for 1 month, 30 days, and lost some weight, but still very energetic. That make me feel curious about what Bigu, why could they do that? Because he lost some weight, of course. So that's the first time I hear about Bigu. It's about information Bigu. And then the Gabin Qi Bigu, Fuqi Bigu, is energy gathering skills. That is what we in our workshop teaching the skills, how to gather energy, practice meditation, and so you don't feel hungry. And the last one is a fasting pill Bigu, Ku'er Bigu. So they use some herb will produce energy or make you feel less likely to feel hungry to doing the Bigu. So that is the three main techniques used in Daoism Bigu. And the workshop I am offering actually mainly focus on the Gabin Qi Bigu, but we are also giving you some taste or give you some information about it, about information Bigu and the fasting pill Bigus. There are some partial Bigu or semi-Bigu techniques, and I will call that fastings, not necessarily called Bigu, because one of the issues about Bigu is not eating, no feeling for hungry. Okay, so that keep that in mind. And the first is juice only Bigu. Probably people hear about it, they drink different juice or the vegetable juice. And the second one is called vegetable Bigu, soup or vegetable only, no grain. Bigu means no grain, right? And of course, we have many and many more intermittent fasting, or what do we call it, periodically on and off. Okay, so that's kind of very common in the United States and around the world. And Bigu more likely is a natural state. Okay, if you practice meditation or Qigong for a while, you'll get into a natural Bigu and without feel hungry state. So that is the type of Bigu we're talking about. So we are actually over the governing Qi Bigu workshop. The next one is coming in July 10th and 14th. So if you're interested in, I will give you more information later. Probably by now you notice that because most of the Daoism Bigu last 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 28 days. Why is it always 7 days as cycles? I got that question from people, and I did not know the answer until I actually get into the Daoism Bigu workshop, and then I look at the literature. I realized 7 day a cycle actually comes from the I Ching, okay, the book of change. So that's about 2,500 years old. It's one of the classical in the Chinese literatures. So because the 7 day as a cycle is actually natural or universal, some kind of a law behind the phenomena. So natural changes are in a 7 day cycles. Our human cells metabolized every 7 days. Our facial or handprints change every 7 years. So from a medical point of view, transformation of a 7 day time range is the base of human bodies. Okay, for example, if you're getting sick, like catch a cold, you need 7 days to recover. Many sickness have the same 7 days period. If you do not recover in 7 days, it will be 14 days, not 8 days, not 9 days. It will be 14 days because you need another 7 days cycles. I don't know whether you notice that now. When you catch a cold, whether you take a medicine or not take a medicine, you most likely will recover in 7 days. Okay, 7 is actually a spiritual numbers. Once you had surgery, operations, it takes about the best time to remove those stitches is 7 days. Okay, if you can ask the doctor, 7 days is the best day for you to take out the stitches because that's your body completely recovered. And the best time, the best sleeping hour is 7 hours a day. More than that, you actually shorten your life, believe it or not. Okay, you know, we all know the chicken was coming from the eggs. The eggs need an incubation about 7 days, 21 days. The egg will become a little chick. Okay, the duck take about 7 days, 28 days for incubations. And the human, okay, the pregnancy, how many days? 47 days, 280 days. Okay, of course, the Buddhism founders, Sakyamunis, who was united under the Bodhi tree for what? How many days? 49 days, 7 days. Okay, if you look those, the sevens is really a spiritual numbers in the history, in life. So Bigu 7 days will help the body completely renew the cell metabolism and completely every 7 days, right? So I want to just mention why is 7 days so important, because your cell metabolized every 7 days, so that gives you a complete cycles. However, if you said, oh, I cannot do 7 days, that's too long, I will say at least you need to do 72 hours. That's 3 days, because 3 days is where you can start your whole detoxification, your whole immune system rebooting will complete it in 3 days. So that's why we usually ask people to at least 3 days and preferably 7 days for each your Bigu trainings. So fasting for health is actually a new trend among many celebrity and important VIPs. And so you can see it from the pictures, Elon Musk and Hugans, Berries, Kardashians, and many celebrities who have been all highlighted fasting into their diet, opening up about the benefit of fasting for them. Okay, so if you look at the news, you will see a lot of more and more celebrities start doing the fasting. The longest one is Terry Crews, who is an actor and a former athlete, who has done a 21-day fast and drinking only water and juice. He said it gave him a spiritual and a physical reset. So actually, there are many cases of fasting around the world. Okay, and many of them, of course, in Indians. The one is Mahatma Gandhi, is an Indian sage who stopped eating many times in his life. When he was 70 years old, he went without food for more than 70 days at one time. And this was actually recorded in the literatures. And Mr. Foster of South Africa, at age 61, went without food for 101 days, which is world highest verified record. Okay, 101 days. And another record is August Barbaris from Scotland, who was overweight. So he stopped eating for 382 days, more than a year, and remained fine and healthy. He lost 276 pounds during that time with assistance of doctors. So the picture on the bottom of right is him before and after that 300 days fastings. There are another Indian yogi who was actually, you can find the video on YouTube, who claimed who was, not eating for 70 years. He started fasting at age 8 and then 8. So at almost 80 years old, the doctor invited him to a hospital, and video surveillance him for 24/7, and he was stay there for 15 days without eating anything, without even drinking water. So this is something the scientists are really interested in why people can doing that and what make them can doing that. Okay, so what fasting actually can bring to you, and scientists know more and more. This is the chart on the right. You can read it if you can, but I can give you some outlines. Okay, if you're not eating for 12 hours, your body will begin fatty acid-based metabolism. Okay, actually, after 8 hours, your body blood sugar for insulin is no longer produced. That's what it is. And if you're fasting for 14 and 16 hours, your body produces more growth hormone, human growth hormones. And at 18 hours, the human growth hormones start skyrocketing. You stop fasting for 24 hours, the body began to autophagy. Okay, your immune system, the immune cell eating itself. Okay, autophagy, eating itself. The whole immune system will started rebooting. Fasting for 72 hours, the autophagy maximize, and the body generates more stem cells. It regenerations. You all know about the function of stem cells, right? I don't have to tell how good it is for the stem cell. That's why the 7 days fasting, you're actually going to produce a lot of things you will be hard to imagine. It will be doing you much better in terms of your physical health than you stay 7 days in hospitals. Let's explain a little bit more about fasting and human growth hormones. Human growth hormone plays a central role in the metabolism of your bodies. It is stimulating the cell repair and tissue growth, activating the thyroid hormones, and burning the abdominal fat and preserving muscles, and increase calcium retention and bone mass. So that's why when you're doing fasting, you're going to be able to produce more growth hormones. I run this small Bigu workshop in China. One of the attendants whose son at 12 years old started attending the fasting Bigu, and he grew like a couple inches during that 10 days periods. So you need the growth hormone being activated during that time. So for the growth hormone deficiency in adults, leading to higher body fat, lower lean body mass, and decreased bone mass. So that is why growth hormone is so important. So any diet, no matter it's high carb or low carb or even ketos, will inhibit the release of growth hormones. So when you're fasting, it is one of the most effective ways to stimulate or increase the release of human growth hormones. And the study proved when during the fasting, your body produces 10 times as much growth hormone as you're not fasting. So now let's talk about more about what fasting can do for you. Okay. A lot of people come into fasting want to lose weight. Actually, lose weight it should be not your number one benefit. Probably the most direct or immediate benefit is your body will deeply detox itself. Because the waste inside the body amount up to 10 kilograms. And in this large and small intestines, this long-term stay in the intestines is considered the rule for many different diseases, at least 100 plus different diseases, if you count them. The first thing in treating a disease is to clean the waste in the digestive systems. Just Daoist said, to live long, you need to keep your bowel open. And who want to design not to die has no door in his bowels. So keep your bowel movement, keep your digestive system clean is one of the key to live healthy and longevity. So Bigu is a whole body cleaning, slowly clean intestines and many chronic diseases related to gastroenterotoxin can be cured completely after 2 or 3 times quality Bigu. And the body waste contribute a long-term self-poisoning, level tremors, mental fatigue, and easy to be complicated with headaches, back pain, fatigue, insomnia, and allergy symptoms. So the harm exterotoxin also including like kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, hypertension, and so on. So really, if you consider how much detoxification will help you health, this should be your number one. Because even though you're fasting for 3 days, okay, so your body will completely detox. And during the fasting, your body smells. That is part of the detox process. Of course, when you stop the glucose metabolism, your ketones will have the smells as well. If smell from your mouth, smell from your body. So that is one of the signs for the detoxifications. The second, the benefit you're getting from the fasting is you're going to boosting or adjust immune systems. Study shows that fasting for 2 days can promoting cell regeneration of the immune and immune systems. After 72 hours of fasting, stem cells are generated, the entire immune system reorganized. There's a study by a group of scientists in University of South California. They found out that fasting push a regeneration switch, prompting the stem cell to produce brand new white blood cells, especially regenerating the entire immune systems. Cutting off the food can promote stem cell regeneration and has direct anti-cancer effects. Okay, Dr. Oshimi, who won 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine, has discovered the mechanism and autophagy that is support the immunological health benefit of fasting. Because autophagy was the mechanism of the cell when you was in the stress response. Fasting is one of the direct way to trigger that stress response. Because autophagy is the process utilize or recycling unnecessary or dysfunctional cellular components, including cellular garbage. Autophagy becomes particularly intense when the body is under stress, such as when it stops eating. This is actually a whole research on when the fasting gets tough, the tough immune cells getting doing or die. Okay, so this is a lot of literature recorded in these areas. And the third benefit is reduce weight, okay, by rebooting your metabolism. Probably the Bigu, because most of the fasting can only last a few days, Bigu cannot last much longer. It's probably one of the most effective way to lose weight. Those weight by Bigu will not become the wrinkling skin orange, but become fit and Hansen's, radiant and long-lasting. Because during Bigu, you are doing all those exercises to work on your muscles, and you are switching from glucose-based metabolism to fatty acid-based metabolism that will directly burning the fat. Okay, so it's an important function of survival. Everybody has that. And the detoxification in the apoptosis and self-resolving process dissolves the adipose and cholesterol and diluted blood and makes the sclerosis blood vessel become blood vessel become soft, make a big and small blood vessel unimpeded, and the blood of human body become more purified. The fourth one is also very important one, is prolong cellular life and make you live longer. It's a longevity benefit. All the effects we mentioned so far, blood purification, clean intestine, balanced immune system, increased the function of visceral, etc. The fasting can resist senility and prolong cellular life. Research found out those mice deprived of food for 2 days a week was less likely to develop cancer and live twice as long as the mice who was feeding every day. In the animal kingdom, we found out old wild animals, tigers, lions, they overeat, okay? They have a large appetite, and their life expectancy is not very long. But those animals, like snakes, turtles, their life consumption of food is relatively small, not much, but their life expectancy is much longer. Like turtles, they live hundreds years old. And the study found that hunger triggers the body's stress response to produce something we call longevity protein, SIRT6. This is a protein involved in regulating many biological processes such as aging, obesity, insulin resistance, inflammation, and metabolisms. Also play a crucial role in burning and regulating liver fat metabolisms. So National Institute of Aging has a study reported that the mice that are cutting calories by 50% lived 30 to 50% longer than the mice who was at normally. The aging at the cellular level was slowed down by as much as 84% during that time. So in terms of longevity, I would like you meeting this, Daoism Qigong master, Mr. Chen Qingyun. Probably if you see this before, you see we mentioned about Mr. Li Qingyun because that is the book about him. He was born in 1678 and passed away in 1933. His profession is an herbalist and a skilled Qigong practitioner. This picture was taken in 1927 when he was 249 years old. And so, as reported in the book, he joined the army at age 51. Most of his wife, he married, and more than once, most of his wife died earlier. So during his lifetime, he married 14 times. And the secret of his longevity, Qigong practice plus Bigu. The reason I was changing his name from Li Qingyun to Chen Qingyun is because I went to where he passed away, that counties, and found out somebody, actually his family, his grandfather is a student of him. And he was participated in the Taiping Tianguo. It's one of the uprising movements in the 1800s. And he did not, after the Taiping Tianguo failed, he did not go back to where his hometown is, but go to the Sichuan, Chenjiagou, that areas. So he changed his family name from Chen to Li. So that he was known as Li Qingyun, but his actual family name is Chen because I see this 96 years old gentleman whose grandfather is a student of Chen Qingyun, Master Chen Qingyun. And he told me his family writing him a letter his name is Chen, not Li. He changed the name in order to avoid the government, chasing after him. So that is really kind of part of my personal story. So I'm going to writing some article about his real story and later. So I wanted you to see a chapter in this book, okay? The 200 years old good luck man in this book. And in that book, there was recorded some he practiced and cultivated in the mountain Ermei. When lecturing for longevity, and within a few years, he was able to Bigu on his own ways. Sometimes he could eating a meal with 2 or 3 pounds of rice. A stomach could still take extra food. Other times, he would stop eating for 3 to 4 months and did not feel hungry. Okay, that's the Chinese. If you read Chinese, you can read them. So this is actually when he was 200 years old, 100 to 200 years old. He can Bigu for 3 to 4 months. So in my Bigu workshop, we have minimum age, okay, but we don't have maximum age. Even though for people over 80 years old, I'll be precaution, not doing Bigu easily. The minimum age is 12 because younger than 12, you are still growing. You need food, you need nutrition to grow the bodies. So this Master Chen Qingyun become a Daoism practitioner, Daoism disciple at age 103. He started practice Daoism Bigu at age 103. So really it depends on your physical conditions. So there are more health benefits, and you can read more in my website, yangsen.com. I have a whole article about health benefit of Bigu fasting, and beautifying the face, reduce wrinkling by self-melting, purifying the blood and softening your blood vessel, anti-cancer effect, because during the Bigu you have low food, but more oxygen, more body heat during the fasting. So all those conditions make the cancer hard to survive. It can repair the body to get rid of many chronic diseases because the Bigu activates your body's self-healing potentials. People always ask me, oh, I have this and this and so disease. Can I do the Bigu? I cannot direct answer that question because the Bigu or fasting does not cure the disease. Your self-healing potential does. The Bigu or fasting activates your body's self-healing potential. That will recover from many different chronic diseases. Bigu will very effectively adjust your spleen and stomachs. 80% of stomach-related disease were getting cured after Bigu. And Bigu also fighting inflammation, reduce inflammation in the body, treating the long-time injuries, swelling, and different pain and aches. There are also psychological effects of Bigu. The many neurological disorders such as stroke, neuralgia, liver palsy, headaches, epilepsy can all be quickly and indeed elevated or cured after Bigu practices. It has a regulatory effect on the autonomic nervous system and endocrine systems, makes the mindset produce more benign change, more positivity, and easier to let go. So Bigu is mainly about mind cultivation. Bigu avoid the brain. It's actually avoid your mind get wandering away. When one can keep away from one of the major desire for food, right? And one can let go of many things in life. So Bigu is not about the physical health, but also about your psychological health, your mindset. Bigu increase one's spiritualities. And spirituality is defined as cultivation of spirit, a religious practice involving serious thinking or meditations. But the Bigu is not just for the religious people. Other people who also can practice spiritualities. It is said only religions cure the wounds in soul when the doctors cure the disease of the bodies. Many religions practice fasting as ascetic, spiritual, obligatory, or religious practices. The practice of fasting varies from religion to religion at a different time. This is considered a sign of sacrifice to the god, or many religions have a specific day and a time for fastings. So actually, any cultivator or monasticism, Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, Christians, they must go through this process of fasting so as to open the body and mind. Bigu or fasting is not just about being healthy. It is more joy of the soul. It is your mind and the soul awakening and liberations. So in the left side, you see the picture of Jackie Ma, who was actually a celebrity, very famous businessman in China, who actually spent 20 million yuan, that's about $3 million, to train his chief management team with Bigu in 2017, was reported in the news. So Jack Ma was reported after that. He said, Bigu can let me calm down. When I am calm, the entire company will be calmed down and it become more effective. So you can see Bigu is not simply for your physical health. So now let's, any questions so far?